In 1987, Magic Johnson had one of the greatest seasons of his career. He walked away that year with his third Finals MVP and a fourth championship. Oh, and his first regular season MVP, argued by many as one of the greatest all-around offensive seasons the NBA had ever seen. 24, 6, and 12, and at the time, the second highest assist-to-turnover ratio of his career. He was dominant. Surely nobody's gonna get anywhere near the numbers of a prime Magic Johnson, right? Wrong. This season, Tyrese Haliburton is averaging 25 points, 4 rebounds, 12 assists, and a ridiculous 5.1 assist-to-turnover ratio, outperforming the greatest season of Magic's career, and one of, if not the greatest offensive season ever. He's 23 years old. 2 years prior in 1985, Larry Bird won his second of back-to-back MVPs, unanimously agreed upon as the greatest season of Bird's career. Here's what Luka Doncic is averaging this season. A near 33-point triple-double, and he's 24 years old. And he's only 5th in MVP rankings. Above him is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. This season, he's averaging career highs across the board. Do the numbers look familiar to you? Because in 1991, Michael Jordan averaged eerily similar numbers. Mike went on to win his second MVP, his first championship and Finals MVP in the prime of his career. SGA is 25 years old. Some of the greatest seasons the league has ever seen are being replicated right in front of our eyes. The NBA's next generation has arrived, and they're better than ever. In 1998, there was a massive void left in the NBA. The Chicago Bulls capped off their second three-peat of the 90s, management followed with their plan to blow up the team, Michael Jordan retired for the second time, and that was it. Not only for the Bulls, but for this era of basketball. Behind his departure, Jordan left a wave of exciting young players, many influenced by his game. Kobe Bryant, Allen Iverson, Grant Hill, Vince Carter, Paul Pierce, Dirk, Duncan, Garnett. The league was entering a new age. An age of highly skilled young players ready to take the leap, to follow in Jordan's footsteps. And all the names I mentioned, they're all younger than 26. The future had arrived. This shift in young talent has been a theme throughout the course of NBA history. It happened in the early 70s when Wilt and Bill retired, again in the early 80s with Magic and Larry. Over a decade later, the cycle repeated itself with the arrival of Michael Jordan. Again in the late 90s and the early 2010s, and as of very recently, this wave of young talent has taken the NBA by storm. Fox, Ant, LaMelo, SGA, Tyrese, Luka, Tatum, Cade, Scottie, all jumping at the chance of being the face of this next generation. The next face of the NBA. With medicine and training regimens helping extend careers, the past era has stuck around longer than anticipated, forcing the new era to grab the torch instead of waiting for it to be handed to them. Seemingly every year there's a new batch of breakout stars, many of them labeled as game-changing franchise players. It's never been this common, while making the league younger than it's ever been. Entering the 1990s, the NBA had seen a consistent uptick in age from season to season, and by the end of the decade, the league was the oldest it had ever been, with an average age just shy of 28 years old. Remember, Jordan had just retired, and the new era was about to arrive. Over the course of the next 25 years, the NBA steadily got younger and younger, reaching the youngest it's ever been at just over 26 years old for 4 of the last 5 seasons. This dramatic drop in age has reached a point where it may just be the new norm. Players are entering the league with skill sets that would have gotten you banned from the NBA 30 years ago for performing dark magic. I mean, look at some of these moves, I don't even know what they're doing. 19-year-olds are coming in ready to play right away, and it's had a massive impact on the way that the game is played. As the average age has consistently gone down, the pace has only soared. Coincidence? I doubt it. The NBA has gotten faster and faster as the association has become younger and younger. The style of play in high-scoring games are directly related to the jump in youth. Young players play quicker with more energy. More energy means a quicker pace. Right as the average age dips down in 2016, the average pace spikes up. The next generation isn't only reshaping the mold of what it means to be a 20-year-old in the NBA. They're directly influencing the way that the game is played. Years ago, it was abnormal to see future stars reach much of their potential in their first handful of seasons. At a point in time, it was okay for a top 10 pick to slowly adjust to the NBA, develop their mind and skill set to the highest level of basketball. They needed time to learn, and it was okay if it took a few years. Nowadays, the expectations are almost too high. Show flashes of your full potential as soon as you step on the court, or else you're a bust. There are some rare occasions where players not only show flashes of who they can be, but they enter the NBA a step ahead of everybody else. Those players, those are the ones who become all-time greats. The hype is earned. They were that good, that quick. With the exception of these anomalies, revolutionary young talents have been scattered across the history of the game, but nowadays they seem almost common. Go through the NBA and you can easily find a dozen promising franchise-altering superstars all below the age of 26. The rise in elite talent has begun at younger and younger ages. In 2004, the average stat line for a player aged 19 to 22 who clocked in 20 minutes per game was this: 12 points, 5 rebounds, and 2 assists. These are great numbers for young players who were given the opportunity to play valuable minutes. Fast forward 10 years and the numbers have remained nearly identical. Now jump up to this season, points, rebounds, and assists have all increased. You can make the argument that the numbers are skewed as offense has exploded in the last decade or so. And to a certain degree, I would agree, but not completely. Young players have become better quicker than ever, largely in part to the increase in opportunities they've been given. In 2004, there were just 24 players aged 19 to 22 who played more than 20 minutes per game. In 2014, it leaped up to 34 players, and this season there are 44 of those guys earning significant playing time, nearly doubling what it was 20 years ago. Young players have become remarkably better. Fans know it, players know it, and so do coaching staffs. But how is it that in the era of the one and done, where players are going from high school to college to the NBA in just a span of 3 years, and they're thriving? The answer is honestly pretty simple. The new wave of players that are coming into the league have already lived the life of an NBA player. Their life revolves around basketball from the day they decide they want to go chase their dreams. That dream involves studying film, which can now be done from anywhere. They spend as much time on the court as humanly possible with a skills trainer, with their high school team, with their AAU team, and then they put in extra work to separate themselves from the others. Entire childhoods are being spent with a ball in their hands, and when they make it to the NBA, they continue to do what they've been doing their entire lives. The grinded out lifestyle becomes normal. They develop into all-star level talents at an incredibly quick rate. Like, seriously. In 1983, the average age of an NBA All-Star was 27.5 years old. Throughout the rest of the decade and into the 90s, the league's best players only got older, with an age of 29 in 1993. Fast forward 10 years and they got younger. In 2013 they got slightly older, and just last season the average age of an All-Star was just over 27 years old. The third youngest since 1983, only behind 2004 and the All-Stars of 2020, who averaged the youngest age of the last 40 years, featuring youngsters like Luka, Trey, Tatum, and Booker. They aren't just good young players, they're already establishing themselves as the best players in the league. This new wave of young talent has been around for just a handful of years, and there's been a 70-point game, the first 60-point 20-rebound triple-double in league history, back-to-back games with 20 points and 20 assists, the most points in a Game 7 in NBA history. You get the point. The next generation has already left their imprint on the game, and they're breaking records like it's a side mission. In January of 2005, LeBron James became the youngest player in NBA history to record a triple-double. The record would stand for over 12 years until Lonzo Ball broke it in November of 2017. This one's gonna stand for a while. Just kidding, the record has been tossed around like Ish Smith. Markelle Fultz broke it 1 year later, LaMelo Ball broke it 3 years after that, and a year later Josh Giddey took possession of the record that still stands today. He also owns the top 4 spots. You know the list of the top 10 most threes made in a rookie season in NBA history? 7 of the 10 have come in the last 6 seasons. The next generation is pretty good at this whole basketball thing. The NBA has reached an unprecedented amount of skill, all while being the youngest it's ever been.